What's going on, guys? It's Mirwin. Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite albums from 2023. So if you guys haven't been watching the YouTube channel, we've been talking about some of my favorite albums from 2023. Today we're going to be talking about How Do You Sleep at Night from the artist Teezo Touchdown. If you haven't watched some of the past videos, I kind of talked about what I liked, what I didn't like from the album, some of my favorite songs. We're just going to get straight into it today. So Teezo Touchdown, one of the artists that I really mostly just discovered for myself personally this year. I really had almost no knowledge of him other than outside of that feature he did on Tyler the Creator's Call Me If You Get Lost, which even then I didn't really know. I had no idea who he was, and even listening to this album, I was like, oh yeah, that's right, he did that. But otherwise, really had almost no clue of who he was other than that, he was kind of an exciting up-and-coming artist. So I was excited to listen to this album. It came out on a night where I think there wasn't much else coming out. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna check it out. But I was pleasantly surprised with this album. Definitely super excited to see what he does going forward. Definitely a fan off of this album. Some of the stuff I liked from this album, and this album has been a little bit polarizing, just talking with people where, I'm talking to people working like, I really liked it, did you? And they're like, oh, I really didn't like it. So it feels kind of like a love it or hate it thing. I personally love this album. I think, like you say, he's a really unique artist. That being said, something I liked was that unique vocal performances he gave on this album. Like I say, he's got a really unique voice, really unique delivery and approach, kind of with how he sings and stuff like that. So I think that was something I really enjoyed. Also, I can see why some people would be, maybe taken aback from it, or wouldn't enjoy it as much. So definitely, again, maybe an artist that's kind of a love it or hate it thing, but I thought it was really interesting. Something also I really liked from this album was that there was a lot of different genre inspiration throughout this album. There really wasn't a ton of songs that were the same song to song. Excuse me. There wasn't really a ton of songs that were very similar from song to song, or where you're like, oh, there's 4 songs in a row and they're all kind of sound the same. There's a really lot of just production, the approach from the vocal performances, really different from song to song to song, which I thought was really cool. Just seeing kind of all that come together, and it still felt relatively cohesive, which I think is difficult to do, obviously. But still, we'll talk about that a little bit more and what I didn't like. Something else I liked a lot was that not only was this a shorter track list, but it was a really tight track list. In that, it's 14 songs, 40 minutes, really short, but there really are almost 0 songs that I would cut on this. So, there were maybe a couple that initially, I would probably cut Daddy Mama Drama and maybe Nune off at the beginning, but now those songs have grown on me, and I'm like, yep, those should have been on there. I probably wouldn't cut any of them, so I thought that was really good. Like I say, especially this being probably his biggest album to date, really being smart about what songs he put on there, and the track listing, I thought that was really impressive. Also, he has some really, unique kind of clever lines and lyrics. I think Impossible has some good ones. Familiarity. I thought he did. You could definitely see he has a really good touch for writing. I think as he develops that more, he'll get better and better with having some good lines and such like that. Going into some of the stuff I didn't like. I think, like I say, it is a really tight, shorter track list. I think lack of features would be something here. So he does a really good job considering, for the most part, this album is for the most part all him for vocal performances. There are some features here. Janelle Monáe is probably the biggest one on here. But I think what I would like to have seen on this for features would have been maybe just some features from different areas of different genres. Like say if he had gotten a different, if Tyler the Creator had been on there as a rapper, a lot of the features on this album really felt a lot more other singers, or really were more like other singers. So I think having, other people on this album that, maybe could approach these tracks a little differently would have been good, just to give it a little more, not even really a lot, just maybe one or two, or maybe swapping out one feature for someone else. I think that would have really helped a lot. Something else I didn't like, I think his delivery, again, he's obviously still growing as an artist, and he's still coming up. He's definitely a young artist as well, but I think his delivery in some spots feels a little different, or could be polished a little more. I think that again, something with he obviously has a unique approach with his vocals, so that's obviously his strength, but I think you can figure out how to polish it a little more, so as people can approach it better, be a little more digestible. I think that'd be good, just because again, he makes good music, so I think that being something that turns people off, I think is unfortunate, and I think also trying to figure that out would be good for him, just so again more people can listen to the music and actually listen to it. Another thing I didn't like I said, I talked about it feeling pretty cohesive. considering there's all these different genre inspirations. You know, there's like some EDM in there, there's some rock, you know, R&B, pop, all these different things. I felt like the only thing I would say to that end, where I think, you know, there's a lot of different genre inspirations, I think it could feel a little bit more cohesive though if you know, he kind of choose 2 or 3 different directions, or just, you know, be maybe a little more, you know, just a little, like, refine it just a little bit more, so it feels a little more cohesive. Like I said, when you look at the track list song to song, it kind of feels like, again, maybe not that it's all over the place, but it's really just kind of like, all right, these are the songs, and there isn't really maybe a big interweaving connection between them, which, like I say, not every album has to have, whether that be, you know, sonically or lyrically, but I think that'd be something I would like to see him grow in a little more. Maybe next album, you know, get a little more focus, zone in on like a couple different sounds, you know, obviously still taking, you know, making each song different and unique from each other. I think that'd be something I'd like to see him do. Some of my favorite songs from here, we got Impossible and Familiarity. Those are probably my top played from these. Like the messages as well with those. Was one of my favorites. I thought that one had some really cool energy. And I also like the original was better. I thought that one was probably the most uniquely produced song on this album. You know, it's got like kind of the EDM. Definitely a song I did not expect as I was listening to go that direction. So very unique in that respect, and a song that I enjoyed because of that. Like I say, if you haven't heard of Teezo Touchdown or listened to this album, definitely encourage you to check it out. Might not be your thing, but I think, you know, definitely encourage you to listen just to kind of expand, you know, your listening and like listen to a different artist. Definitely has some really cool stuff. Hopefully a song on there that you would enjoy. That being said, we're doing a video for every album I enjoyed or one of my favorites from 2023. So definitely hit that like and subscribe button. We got a lot more coming up, so make sure to do that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.